This is the Faders Up Podcast.
That's what she said.
Yo, even though I knew that was coming, it's still pause, no, whatever. Even though I knew you was bro, even though I knew you was about to play that, it still made me laugh, bro. So I'm trying to do this whole setup. It backfired, but like I ain't into the whole pause game stuff. Like people be taking it too far. But did you see the clip of the Fat Joe and Jadakiss podcast, bro? When they was interviewing these dude for the Yankees,
I may have seen
he
it.
hit like the most epic like pause of all time. Like, so they're talking about how, he performed at the World Series. He didn't do good. They don't want to bring me back. Nah, come on, man. We got to get revenge, et cetera, et cetera. Whoever the editor is of the video, I don't know if he be trying to set people up, but they go to this clip and he's like, yo, I'm like, when I go to the park, man, I'm like a serial glizzy eater. And yo, Jadakiss is like, yo, whoa, pause, whoa, you're a what? Man, he's going off, right? And I'm like, it was just funny, but so in the context, so later in that conversation, he's talking about hot dogs and stuff, and I'm like, wait, is glizzy supposed to be slang for a hot dog in New York? I asked my wife. She from the Bronx. She from the South Bronx, where it all started, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, that's new to me. So anyway, apparently.
Hearing that for like a year, maybe longer.
I've been knowing about the glizzies.
I have never, apparently Jadakiss never heard it either because, they flipped out like, what? But
that's also like YN slang too to me. Like we don't say that.
It's gotta be because
plus I don't care. Chili cheese dog, I'm smashing it.
Man.
Smashing the glizzies.
Man.
But not serially though.
Whoa, hold on. Whoa.
Let me get one of the glizzies.
Pause. That's too funny, bro. So I'm thinking, go ahead.
I eat mine with a knife and a fork. I will say that.
Hey, you bougie, man. You ain't from Memphis, man. You from that part of Memphis. You ain't from the part of Memphis that Stephen A. Smith talking about that people don't want to go to and play for the Grizzlies. You from like somewhere else.
We ain't even finna get into that because I'm like NBA players don't even stay in Memphis. So like, what are you talking about,
bro?
Y'all out in Collierville and out in in the city.
But if that narrative continues to pick up steam, think about how many things we just start believing just because we heard it enough time. Like inconsequential stuff. Like I ain't talking about politics, religion, faith, or whatever. But you hear something enough times, it's just. People just start repeating it, man. But like even in the music industry, this whole AI thing we gonna get into, it's like it's crazy. And so even when I was researching for this episode, it's like, yo, I need to get a clear timeline, right? Because it's like once you start hearing a few people's take, it's easy to forget, like, hold up, where did this start? What was the first thing? Then what was the first response, and et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, from Timberland to Suno to the major labels, now trying to get a piece of it, we might as well call this episode like just messy three-way, man, because they really all trying to be bad with each other, man, for real. But we can unpack things, you know what I'm saying?
Let's go knock out the intro. Just back to the Memphis thing real quick. Like I've seen Grizzlies players out in Memphis, and these are NBA players I've seen that don't even play for the Grizzlies anymore or don't play for the Grizzlies be in Memphis hanging out and partying. So like I don't want to hear that. But so this is the Faders Up podcast. And if you have any questions you want answered, you can reach us at fadersuppodcast@yahoo.com. You can reach us on our Instagram page, Faders Up Podcast. All guests and hosts that appear on the show will be in the show notes. And don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Music and Spotify and anywhere you can rate us. And I think I forgot to mention it, but this is a podcast about pro audio and beyond. All right, so yeah, this episode, we're going to unpack some AI stuff with Timberland and Suno and this whole thing that's going on. We got Sci-Fi in here to help us. Welcome back once again.
Yeah.
What up? What up?
Yeah, man. Oh, for those who, man, if you listen to the show, you definitely know what Sci-Fi is. But this is once again, tell us a little bit about you, just in case it's someone's first time here.
Man, my name is Sci-Fi. I'm a music producer, engineer, songwriter. I pretty much try to do whatever I can authentically to music, except for like get on stage and sing. I don't do that. But if you need help with anything that surrounds that, I got you. Yeah, I've been doing that for a number of years. I went to MTSU, studied audio there. I've worked with several artists, from major label artists to independent artists. And yeah, I just love everything music and audio.
That's what's up.
Yeah. Side note, I got a super sick billboard right now on 40, Interstate 40, man. It says the road to Grammys starts at MTSU. I was like, I couldn't even hate. I know I teach at the other school, but I was like, that's pretty fire, man. That's pretty fire. I couldn't even hate on that, man. Salute to MTSU.
We're going to go ahead and get into our regular segment of who's been pushing faders up. We just briefly discuss what we've been working on. And we've been gone for a minute. So, O'Shea, what you been up to?
Man, just within the past 2 weeks, I'm super excited. I've resumed writing the manuscript for my very first book. So I'm super excited. Probably about 75% of the way through. This is actually a book I started summer 2021. So I haven't touched this in like 4 years. I took like a slight career pivot in life and marriage, and so all the things was going on. So 4 years later, I'm now picking back up on writing this manuscript. So super excited. I'm not gonna give too much away right now, but it's basically a handbook to help creatives transition from the hustle to the business mindset.
Mm-hmm.
That's great, man. That's super needed. A lot of creatives just know how to be really intense creatives and have no idea how to monetize or like understand the business side of what it takes to make that creative work for them. So no, that's great, bro.
Yeah, I mean that's really what it was birthed from teaching, you know what I'm saying, at Belmont to, sessions I've done, topics on the podcast. Yeah, I just realized like a lot of conversations I've had, working with artists is like you'd be surprised. Well, the average person would be surprised how much of a gap there is between content and business, and like the lack of business acumen, I'll say.
Yeah, and partially I think, and I don't want to get stuck on it too much, but it's just thoughts that I've had, but like just how our industry is set up a lot of times. Like, in other industries, there's very clear parameters of like, all right, and I guess on the engineering side and stuff, it's a little more clear, but like, you'll be in sessions sometimes, like a lot of times with beginning artists, but even like with seasoned professionals in the music industry, like there's a lot of times there may not be a conversation of like, okay, like what's the rate and what's the budget and all that. Sometimes it comes afterwards, and then things can get confusing and
messy, man.
And then artists, they're thinking like, oh, I didn't have that budget, or it's so different from other industries where all that stuff is so clear cut.
Yeah.
But this is a creative industry and people are used to being creatives. But I think we need to merge the business side of the industry to make it work for creatives,
And also parallel And another way I've been pushing faders up. Let's take, for example, the wedding DJ business. You know what I'm saying? I'm super thankful having been a DJ for over 20 years, been doing weddings for over 11 years. I would say 2025, this is the first year where at the very beginning of the year, January 1st, I've been very super intentional about growing the DJ. Before it was a hustle. It was like, hey, I got a full-time job. Hey, if a gig come in and sound cool, I'll take it. If not, whatever, and I don't care. And now I'm taking my own advice, right? Like I've done the business, I got my business acumen as far as on the production side, but now on the DJ side, and to the point you were saying about budgeting and not having those conversations up front. When I'm doing a consultation with prospects for a wedding gig, all that stuff is up front. Like there is no haggling, there is no oops, I forgot to mention. It's like, no, I'm getting all that information on the front end. So so I'm super excited with the book and continuing to grow the DJ Lubric brand. So that's how I've been pushing faders up. What about you, Sapphire?
Man, always in the studio working on stuff. Me and Daisha McBride, we got an EP dropping this Friday actually that we've been working on for a while. Six tracks, I believe. Yeah, 6-track EP that we've been working on. And then there might be another announcement for some stuff we got going on after that. Maybe coming to a city near you.
Word.
But working with her. There's another artist I've been working on. Her single should be dropping sometime in July as well. I've been mixing a bunch of songs too. Kind of like we were talking about earlier. I ended up going to the James Brown estate this weekend, where it was blazing hot in South Carolina. Which of course, I'm sure y'all have all seen that one meme of James Brown where he's sweating profusely.
Yeah.
That's how everybody there was.
What part of South Carolina?
Beach Island.
Okay, I was gonna. Is that anywhere near Charleston?
No idea.
Okay, all right. I was gonna ask if you got some beanie wafers.
Oh no, it's a 2-hour drive from Atlanta. That's about all I know.
Okay.
Yep. But that was cool though, just being able to see that and kind of see like that history. He still had like his old tour buses on the estate. We got to see his party room. They had performances. It was sponsored by Billboard and a bunch of like big music organizations. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, man. Also moved into a new studio, a bit bigger. Got all the synthesizers up here on the wall.
All right.
So
bigger is better.
That's what she said.
I knew
it.
When you said that.
He said that during so nonchalantly, like it wasn't.
Hey, he had a smirk on his face too. I knew it was
coming. With Deja, this EP is that. I know it's like 2 songs I've been seeing her promote on TikTok. I don't know the name of it. The one is the one where she's singing.
Yeah, that's probably Irish Goodbye.
Okay, yeah. That one's gonna be on there.
Yep.
And then the other one I've been hearing recently is kind of like a club one.
Yeah, that's gonna be on there too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of flavors on there.
There's some heat there.
Appreciate it.
What about you, Czar? We would love to hear how you've been pushing faders up.
My bad. Czar, how have you been pushing faders up?
I was trying to wait a second, but is slowly started approaching that awkward silence. He looked lonely. Like he looked like, come on, guys. What about me?
How have you been pushing faders up, Czar?
I've been doing the same old as far as reviewing a lot of plugins and stuff. Recently, what's the most recent plugin I reviewed? Noise Hub, One Vox. Been reviewing a lot of the Heritage Audio stuff, which has been really great plugins, which really like that Heritage Audio stuff is up there. It's up there with the best.
Really?
Yeah, all their stuff.
Have you done shootouts with their hardware in the plugins?
I haven't. I have not. Do I have any Heritage? I don't have any Heritage Audio stuff.
Okay.
I've been curious I was curious about the 1073 because Truth was wanting to get a 1073 in the studio, and Heritage Audio was one that I would look at, or that I was interested in trying out, because a lot of other 1073 clones will just say I haven't been a fan of.
Yeah, me either.
I do really like the Chameleon Lab 7603, but that's not technically a specifically a Neve clone, but it kind of is. If you look at the EQ frequencies on there, it's like, oh, this is a 1073, obviously, but it doesn't sound like one to me, which I like. Just a lot of them I just find to be muddy and dark. So yeah, but I definitely look forward to. I definitely want to check out the Heritage Audio one, so I was looking at that. But yeah, all their plugins have been. I'm trying to think what maybe the is it the Verimu? I think they got a Verimu compressor. I can't think of the name of it. No, not a Verimu compressor. It's like a
3609, right? Do they
not
have
that
of
one. I'm thinking of the Tube Sessor. It's like a CL1B, but with a
Gotcha,
whole
okay.
bunch more. Like I'm waiting to see if they're going to come out with that in plug-in form. But they've done like the Lang EQ.
They're the ones with the Unfair Child, right?
Yes, yeah, the 500 series, yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw like somebody do a quick shootout between their hardware version and the if I'm thinking of the right people, but I think I saw somebody do a shootout of the hardware and the plug-in, and dude, it was no difference. Absolutely no difference.
Yeah, there and from what I found out, because they first started to see their plugins with their interfaces. It's like their DSP that comes with their interfaces. I think it was like the Brit strip, channel strip.
Okay.
The Synth EQ as well.
Okay.
And I thought that they were, because a lot of these companies will come out with a plugin, but behind it is like SoftTube. Like SoftTube's doing it, but it's someone else's name on, But no, they said they're developing these in-house. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, those are. I think we are getting to. Let me see. They dropped a delay. They dropped a tape delay. They dropped a reverb. I think we're getting pretty close to them having a bundle to where I feel like I can mix with just that bundle. And they don't have a just a straight up like parametric EQ like that. But yeah, they got the Brit strip, Synth EQ. What am I missing? It's a compressor. And they've been coming out like every other week. Like they've been dropping them back to back. Like sometimes they'll send me one and I don't even have time to finish a video for that, and they got another one out. And I'm like, dang. So yeah, I've been doing those. What else? Oh, I did the Waves Illusion. Did y'all check that out? I guess we can discuss that since we talking about a little bit of AI this episode. Have you seen that, O'Shea?
No, I have not, man. Like, even as I'm in the studio now and I'm like, I ain't made a beat in so long, bro.
I feel like that went over.
Is that the one where you like can type in a prompt and it makes a sound for you?
I feel like that went over a lot of people's heads.
I didn't check it out, but I saw the advertisements for it.
You mean went over their heads like people just didn't like pay attention to it, or people didn't like know how to use it?
Probably a little bit of both. Because there is certain, and they give you Waves gives you what's the word? Not tutorials, but like starting points on how to input the prompts for it. But like you would think that some of the stuff, like I think I put like you can put like, I don't know, underwater guitar in a tsunami. Like I don't know, like you come up with these, and it sometimes it's like, what is that? But then sometimes it's like, oh, okay, I see what we're doing here. But it's something I feel like the more you work with it, if you're definitely stuck looking for a specific sound, you can tell it what you're looking for. And yeah, throw a couple adjectives in there with it and instruments, and it's gonna spit back some stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've seen some plugins like that. There's one called Synth GPT that that I've had. Like I've briefly used it in one of my homies, Big Bruno. He's like my business partner. He's used that a few times in some tracks, and same kind of idea. You type in a prompt, and it'll bring up, as best as it can, a sound that emulates the prompt. But it seems like, again, I didn't check out the Waves one. It seems like the Waves one may have been a little more advanced, maybe, and maybe higher sound quality.
What-
But yeah, I have to check it out.
Okay, so what does the GPT stand for?
Let me see.
Since we now have multiple products with GPT on the end of it.
Generative pre-trained transformer.
Yeah, let's just say GPT. That's ridiculous.
I think it's funny you said that. Just talking about the prompts, like I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions from people who aren't actively using AI. Right? There's this fear that like AI is going to take over everything, whether you agree or disagree. But it's this fear that like someone can, whether it's music, business, whatever, that someone can just sit there, hit one button, and they're a millionaire. It's like that's where I think we need to pump our brakes. Like everyone's not gonna be maximizing AI, right? Even when it comes to prompt generation. Like one, that's creating like an actual job position for people right now. Because can't just anybody like I mean, anyone can type, but I guess what I'm saying, it takes a skill in art and even some fundamental knowledge and awareness of a topic to even know what type of prompts to type in. Like people say it's a phrase, you don't know what you don't know, right? So if I was setting out to design my own DAW, if I had zero knowledge of a DAW, I wouldn't even have a starting point, right? So, um, and so I say that to say that even creatives, music creatives like us, who either are implementing pieces of AI or considering it, even that, it's like for people that's really into music, I'm not talking about like people looking for a come up and trying to look for a cheat code, but people that really enjoy making it, we're not going to abandon naturally just hitting a couple keys to see what it feels like or hitting a couple pads on the drum machine. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just thought that needed to be said based on what you said about typing in the prompt because sometimes that can be process of typing a prompt. It's like to a degree that interrupts your creative process, right? So it's like if I'm already in the middle of kind of creating and playing with samples, I'm less likely to use AI in the middle of my process. If I were going to use it, it would be at the beginning. Like, hey, I'm looking for a song that got that mid '90s R&B feel with a New Jack Swing vibe at the beginning, and then kind of flipping it and doing my thing from that point.
Yeah, man. I'm not scared of AI. I mean, and I understand why people are. And it's just how it is. People fear what they don't understand. And they don't really understand. And this is my opinion, not saying this is a hard and fast rule, but people just don't understand how it has a place in the creation process when humans are the driving force behind creation. But that's the whole thing. Humans are the driving force behind creation. So to have AI, you need a human to type in the prompt, like you were saying. And again, to your point, you have to know how to talk to it. Like if you talk to it in a specific way, you can get really interesting sounds. That's still creation, in my opinion. It's streamlining the creation process because I mean I can't tell you how many times I've been working on a track or in a writing session where because I also write lyrics, so sometimes I'll have to hop in and write some lyrics, come back, make the beat, and do all that stuff. It's great to have AI, and this is why I need to try the Waves Illusion. where I can just type in a few words, very specific types of things, and if it can give me exactly what I'm looking for, instead of me having to like scroll through sounds for like 10 minutes to find one sound that fits the vibe, it streamlines the process. It actually makes the creative process better, in my opinion. But there are people who can use it for predatory, in a predatory way. Um,
Oh, for sure.
and that's kind of the trade-off. Whenever you have new technology, new things that come into play, you have people who are going to use it for the betterment of it, and then you have people who are going to use it in bad ways. But just because people can use it in a bad way doesn't mean that everybody's going to use it in a bad way, and doesn't mean that that one thing should be thrown out. So it it's it's a new thing, and it can be nerve-wracking for people. And I think mostly it's for like the starving artists who are a little bit scared of it, because they're like, this is my whole job, to create. And now there's this one thing you can type a few words and it does my job. So now I'm going to be replaced. That's not really the case. Like, nobody replaced piano players. Nobody replaced drummers. They were just new technologies that were added on, you know?
Mm. I mm, I might I'm gonna push back on that a little bit. It's like I
Mhm,
agree with you,
mhm.
but I do. Mm, I think for the jobs or the opportunities that it does replace, I think it creates new opportunities as well. So
Sure.
I don't think it's a subtraction thing. I think it's a replacing thing. I do think like even. So AI is just following the trajectory that technology has been on since we've been alive, right?
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
it keeps advancing, being able to do more, do more, do more. So even when you think about it not replacing piano players, it mm, it it scales it in a different way. So for example, it democratizes, right? Like so it opens up the lane for more people. So let's say 20 years ago, you had to get an actual piano player. So major label people, mid majors, not a problem.
Yeah.
It was pricing out the smaller guys.
Yep.
Now it's replacing in the sense that it's not. So I guess I don't agree with you because it's not replacing because the people who had the budget for hiring session players probably still have the budget. I think it just tries to level the playing field because now the person who couldn't afford a session player has another option. Now the person who maybe couldn't afford a $400 plugin, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it just levels to it, you know.
Yeah, and that's essentially what I was saying, man. Like,
Yeah,
it doesn't, I mean, it will kind of change things a little bit. Not saying it won't like fully replace musicians and stuff like that, but it does, it just opens up more doors than it closes others, you
yeah,
know?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where it's gonna go on the engineering side because I like just now started messing around with Gemini on my Pixel phone,
Mm,
and I've been seeing the commercials,
yeah.
and I was like, let me try this. I recently got my windows tinted, and I got my car serviced at the same time, and they held it for a few weeks to fix some things. But when you get your cars tinted, when you get your windows tinted, they tell you don't roll your windows down for like 3 days. Well, they hit a sticker on my window button to remind me not to roll it down. That sticker had been there for like 2 weeks now. So when I went to peel it off, of course, it left residue and everything. So I was like, man, how am I going to get this off? So I was like, let me ask Gemini. Took a picture of it. And I don't even think I even asked it how to get it off. I just took a picture of it and put it through there. And it was like, oh, it looks like you've got sticker residue on the inside of your car. Here's 3 things you could do. Which one of these you want to try? And I think the rubbing alcohol would have been the easiest for me to do. So I was like, oh, I can get my hands on rubbing alcohol pretty easy. So I'm like, yeah, rubbing alcohol. So I go to Walmart to get the rubbing alcohol, and then I see there's like 50%, 70%, 90%. I'm like, which one? Ask it which one. It tells me which one, tells me why, which one. And it worked great. and then I started using it for now I'm using it to compare hotels, and it does a really good job of that because um, when I went to the Canary Islands, the resort I was at, it was funny because we were like, after a while, we were like, okay, I think we're the only black people here. And then after a while, I was like, okay, I think we're also the youngest people here too. Like, it was not one of those. It was a really nice resort. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't one of those like turn up party, So
Yeah.
now, there was two. I'm going to Puerto Vallarta in October, and I'm deciding between two resorts. I'm like, well, which one gonna turn up a little more? And like Gemini would tell you what's the vibe for each one, which is not something you're gonna easily find just Googling hotels.
Mm-hmm.
So like it'll tell you that the target audience, the vibe, yeah, it just breaks a lot down. Almost gives too much information too. Some of the stuff I ask and I'm like, I need to know all that. Like just can we just keep it simple?
It's the equivalent of imagine if you had like 10 pairs of hands and 10 brains, right? Like it's not it's not making up stuff, although some of the lesser effective AI models, I'm sure, like I've going back to being able to have a foundation level of understanding. I've had to correct my AI platform before
Bro,
where
me too.
I've typed in something and it'll spit something back out. Like it was something the other day. I was brainstorming some book titles. I had some ideas already in mind. I dumped my ideas in there and was asking, hey, I told it I want something using alliteration and doing this and doing that. Spit out some ideas. I combined like two of the ideas. Long story short, I put it in there. I put the new idea in there, and it tried to tell me it was like that's not alliteration. This word right here breaks up the alliteration. It doesn't know that English was my best subject in high school. I love words. So I typed in, that's actually not the case. This is still alliteration, is 5 B's, 3 B's or whatever. And then it typed back, you're right. My fault, my mistake. Let me go back and fix that and give you what you asked for. So it's like having that foundational level understanding, like Czar, even when you use it for and I'm not the poster board for AI. I'm not
Mm.
saying there's no cause for concern or paying attention. I'm not saying that at all. Please believe me. But for everyday task, what the average person is like missing out on. I'm thinking about going to Vegas in November for like a wedding expo. And I can type in, hey, compare wedding expo. Like all it's doing is doing what I would do on Google, but doing it like 1,000 times faster. 'Cause when you're doing it on Google, you can only search one thing at a time.
Mm.
This basically searches the entire internet and then gives the results to you.
Yeah, I can see, yeah, I've had to do that too. Compare hotels in Vegas because I'm actually when I go to Nam next year, I think what I'm gonna do is uh go to Anaheim for 2 days, and then I think I'm gonna go to Vegas for 2 days before coming back. So yeah, I was comparing some hotels in Vegas and had Gemini do it, and like I said, telling me this one is more catered to older crowd or whatever. I'm like, okay, how older? I mean, I don't want to be uh, at a hotel with a bunch of YNs, but like it helps you. Yeah, the way it just compares those and breaks that down. Something else I was using it to compare it to, but yeah, I've been impressed with it.
Man, I use Chat GPT every single day, bro. Like I at least ask it one question a day. Like and you're right, it does get things wrong sometimes because I've asked it questions about like logic if I run into a problem. It's been at least more than one time that I can think where I was asking it how to do something in logic. It was just like some obscure thing that happened. And I asked ChatGPT how to fix it, and it gave me a solution. I tried that solution, didn't work. then I just kept messing around myself, found the solution myself, and then I tell ChatGPT, like, hey, this is actually how you fix it. And it's like, oh, okay, got it. I'll mark that for next time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still learning. It's like a generative platform. It's just pulling information from what it has to go off of, like off of Reddit and Gearspace and all those type of things of what people have discussed. But it's still learning, but it's still super valuable. Like I said, I talk to it every day, all aspects of my life, and definitely like with production and engineering and stuff. I mean, sometimes I ask it to write a song for me. Most of the time, the songs are trash, but sometimes it'll give you like a starting point to go off of.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine. Jim, the other day, I screwed up something on my thermostat and I couldn't get it. I like locked a temperature in there, so I'm like, what did I do? I took a picture of it with Gemini and asked how to fix it, and it from the picture it identified the model thermostat I had and told me how to fix it, and I was like, oh, thanks, because that would have been a lot of I would have went down a rabbit hole Google searching trying to figure that out. Where I just took a picture of it, and that was that.
Yeah,
Let me ask: what was your initial thoughts on like Lander and the AI mastering, and how do you feel about it now?
I remember when it kind of first became a thing. I'll say it wasn't as good as it is now, because I have friends who use it, and I've used it a couple times myself. Well, actually, yeah, I have used it a couple times myself, and I think it's cool. It's cool to get you, like, if you just need a quick result and something decent. It's not going to be like a real mastering engineer or whatever. But if you need something decent to where it's just like, okay, I need my song louder and, just feeling more cohesive, it gets the job done pretty decently, and sometimes like even a little bit more than decent. So like, especially for like artists who don't have the budget for a mastering engineer or, a mixing engineer or whatever, yeah, use it. I mean, it's a great tool.
I'm affiliate for them now, but when they first reached out to me, kind of when it first came out, and I was like, man, I'm not getting behind this. Like, I do this.
Yeah.
Like, no. But as time went on, it did get better, and now I find myself using it for if I'm mastering a song, I'm going to master the song. But
Right.
like mastering the podcast, I run it through there.
Yep.
I had a client who wanted me to master like something crazy, like 8 songs in 2 days. And I was like, this no way. Absolutely no way. And then he was like, oh, well, I thought you just had to run it through a software. So I was like, wait a minute. Okay. Instead of, charging you this for me to do it by ear,
Yeah.
I charged him to run it through Lander, and I'll charge you less and you get your results quicker. But just know,
man.
We can't tweak this and go back and forth with this. What you get is what you get. But
yeah,
there's definitely certain instances where I'm absolutely fine with using it, and I've even used it mastering where I master and kind of use it as a final touch on my master as well. So I've definitely I've came around to it. Even the AI plugins like Sonable, I'm a huge fan of all their plugins. And at first, I was like, why am I gonna use an AI EQ when I know what I want to do with an EQ? But if it's a crappy vocal and I can run it through Sonable and let it start to fix things, and I can kind of
doing like 20 nodes trying to notch out resonances, let the AI do it, and then you can just sculpt it.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, I've definitely gotten I've definitely done a 180 from when these AI plugins and AI mastering and stuff initially came out. What about you, O'Shea?
No,
He forgot the question.
No. So, well, I kind of did. Yeah. But now, what are you talking about? The Lander mastering part,
or just AI plugins and AI mastering? Like, how have you, from when it was first introduced to now, like, has your feelings changed, or were you always on board with it?
I mean, I was always on board because I look at and this is an oversimplified approach, but I look at as far as audio AI when it comes to plugins, I look what's the difference between that and a preset. Presets aren't cheating. I pay for this software, this plugin, this it comes with it. Um, so yeah, I've always been fine with that. There are some things I'm more likely to pull up a preset than others. So I don't use a lot of presets with EQs, but I did when I first started mastering my own stuff. I was using presets in Ozone until I kind of realized where it's like, hey, I don't want to use all ozone stuff. I want to use my UAD API 2500. I want to use this, I want to use that. But at the end of the day, and this is what I even tell my college students, at the end of the day, it's still going to take a human brain, your ears, and discernment to decide if this is good or not. It's still going to take human relationships, right, to get that song to the person you want to get it to for it to do what you want it to do, right? So I feel like AI definitely opens a lot of doors. It helps to level the playing field, but at the end of the day, I mean, if you really ain't got a good ear for music, I mean, perfect example. We do beat challenges in class, right? So on the very first night of class, is like, hey, I'm not looking for a Grammy hit. Like, you can use Apple Loops, you can do whatever. Perfect example. Everybody has access to the same Apple loops. So everybody has the same percentage, the same chance of making a hot beat. Everybody doesn't make a hot beat, right? So it's like that's how I look at it.
Yep.
Where even in go ahead.
No, I would 100% use AI over presets, and that's just because um I don't know if someone needs to just say it. So maybe I'll go ahead and say it. A lot of these presets be trash.
Yeah,
Like I
I
will
mean,
just you pull up a preset that says female vocal, and it's like who
Yeah.
made these EQ moves on a
and
female
and
vocal
that's the
that
same as like so people sell actual presets. Like I ain't talking about a plugin that come with presets. I'm talking about people be selling presets for plugins that already exist, right? And my mind is always, yeah, but you don't know what mic they record on, who the vote. Like it's so many different variables. But
Y-
if it's somewhere it's like, all right, this is only $10. Like, yeah, I'll try. Maybe I'll hit a lick and get like the perfect Travis Scott, vocal chain or whatever. Um, but presets are also good for reverse engineering. Like for the person, if you're really trying to teach yourself, like you're not in school
Agreed.
for it, you're trying to teach yourself, man, study it. Like pick a
mm,
preset, whether you like it or not, analyze why you feel that way about it. You know what I'm saying? Play with the knobs, well, not knobs, but move the buttons. Make a note of what happened. Did you like that change? Did you not? You know what I'm saying? So
and that's how I learned. Well, I mean, I get that, but it's just funny to me if I take a compressor and do a preset that says rap vocal, and it's like a 25-to-1 ratio. It's like what?
Yeah.
but someone somewhere did
Thought that
that
sounded good.
and thought it worked for 'em. And that's where it comes back to the ears and the discernment. Like I can't tell you how many people I've had over how long have I been teaching music production since '07. Almost 20 years I've been teaching this to kids, teenagers, and adults. I can't tell you how many times someone has come to me super excited, like, listen to my beat, Mr. Rick. Listen. And I'm just like, in my mind, at first, it's like, yo, that's trash. But just over the years, I've learned how to give feedback, you know what I'm saying, to my students based on what their goals are, right? So the little third grader that's just doing something new. Oh, hey, I like that drum sound right there. Everything else could be,
Mm,
you know what I'm saying? But now when I'm talking to my Belmont students, and these are juniors and seniors telling me, hey, I got an internship with Murder Beats, and I got this and I got that, and this is what I want to do. Oh, okay. So you're inviting me to get a little more real with you, not be a jerk, not be an a-hole, but it's like you gotta hear that distortion. Like you have to hear that, and you can't be like, oops, I didn't notice. You know what I'm saying? Like, but sometimes that could be the telltale sign of somebody either not knowing their stuff. Cause it's like if I put in the lander AI mastering, I still gotta discern if what it spits back is what I'm looking for. And if not, I need to have for me personally, not for anybody else, but me, I'm glad that I have some level of foundational understanding where I can go in and make a few tweaks. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
One of the favorite things I've heard Dave Pensado say is
I missed it.
he'd ask or people ask him what did he use on Mariah Carey's vocals, and he's like, yeah, I'll show you what I used on Mariah Carey's vocals.
It ain't gonna matter.
It ain't gonna matter
Unless you got Mariah Carey,
you got Mariah
and
Carey.
that same mic and that same preamp.
Yep.
So this is why I don't gatekeep you. So, I mean, people ask what I use. I'll tell you what I use, but every voice is different.
Yep.
So what I use that worked on one person's voice may not work on what you're doing. Now, I get it. You admire the sound and want to know what chain created that, but who was it? I think Simone Curry. I was testing, I think one of the Roswell mics with her, and she just sounds so good. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, damn, people are going to hear this on YouTube and think they're going to sound like you if they get this microphone.
See, that's why the AI stuff doesn't scare me, is because humans are using the AI, and it, again, like we've been saying this whole time, it's about the creative, the person who's using it. Like, you can have somebody who's super talented that uses AI, and yeah, it's going to come out miles better than everybody else. You can have somebody who knows nothing about what they're doing and use AI, and it still sounds terrible. You have to have some type of skill. You have to have some type of talent to make sure it shines through. Like I can't remember what the number is, 50,000 songs or something like that get uploaded to Spotify every day. Probably like 49,999 whatever are terrible.
It's a small number that makes it through that little crack in the door to success. You know what I'm saying? I wonder though, Czar brought up a good point, and it may be a good transition kind of to the main topic, maybe not. But being someone who engineers and produces, I wonder, I feel like it's different. Like I feel like producers are a little more protective of their resources, sounds, and stuff than an engineer would be. Like, it's one thing to say, oh, here's the exact preset settings I use. It's another thing to say, here's the exact sample I use. Here's how I did it. I don't know. Like, how do you feel? Do you agree with Czar, where it's like, hey, you give away your whole sample pack, or
you can't, like, how I look at it, I can give you all of my sounds, which if my homies want my sounds, I'll give them anything that I have. Like, and not saying like anybody's better than anybody, but you can't make the same song the same way I do it. Like, it's my interpretation. You have your own interpretation. It's gonna be different one way or the other. So it don't matter. We can have access to the same exact resources. Everything that I have, they can have. Just like you were saying, all the Apple loops, whenever you have the students, they have access to the same Apple loops. Some come out cool, some don't come out cool, some come out dope, but they're just completely different, It's based on the creative. It's based on that person who is making the idea themselves. There's nothing to be afraid of, in my opinion.
Let's go ahead and get into the main topic. Sci-fi, you said about people using AI, so let's use that to segue into a certain someone using AI
Let's get into it.
that I guess we can say got their hand caught in the cookie jar.
Yeah, I mean that was. I don't know if I would call it that because it's not like he ain't already established. But for let's just say for the listeners who don't know, so we are talking about super producer Timberland tonight, his relationship with Suno, how he's been using Suno. That's like the main thing, and then there's some rabbit holes and kind of branch off points. So this time, if you're in the know, if you're like a audio geek like we are, you've probably heard this topic. You've seen this on your timeline a million times in like the last 2 weeks. For those who haven't, should we give basically a quick rundown?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. It's hard to even kind of like how do you give a rundown? All right, so I'm gonna just go to the timeline. So I'm glad I did that. So all right, so this is going back, let's say, not even a full 12 months. So October 2024, Timberland became an advisor to Suno. So Suno is an AI, basically beat making program, right? So Timberland comes on, he's the advisor. He's made like 50,000 beats. He's already uploaded to Suno. Um,
Hold on.
he-
Soon, I don't know what is Suno. Is that like a text prompt?
I'm glad you said that. So Suno is an AI music generation platform. It can create full songs from text prompts or uploaded audio. Remember those two words, uploaded audio,
So when you say
right?
uploaded audio, do you upload something to it and then it remixes it, or it?
Well, it doesn't it can remix it, but answering that question is pretty much the main point of this whole conversation. So
Okay,
I don't want us to like
all right.
said already, but that's what it is. So it's an AI music generation platform. It'll make full song. You can do the text prompts like Waves Illusion,
Mhm.
or you can actually upload audio files. Um, yeah, so they've raised millions of dollars as of May last year, 125 million. So
Mhm.
this ain't a small player. This is like a high profile thing. It's currently facing lawsuits from the three major labels. It was facing lawsuits over a year ago, right? So the lawsuit, where is it? Actually, no. All right, so let me skip down a little bit. So that's who Suno is. We know who Timbaland is, right? So he's an advisor to Suno. This isn't like a licensing deal like these bars on Broadway where a country artist just gives his name and he's not involved. Like,
Y-
no. And I quote, Suno said, additionally, as part of being a strategic advisor to Suno, Timberland will assume an active role in the day-to-day product development and strategic creative direction of Suno. And that was October 2024, right?
Okay.
So he comes on board October 2024. All right, let's fast forward to
Is
three and a
this?
half weeks ago.
Have we gotten to the lawsuit yet, or you said that was previously
Well, Suno has had more than one
one
lawsuit.
lawsuit? Okay.
So they're currently being sued by like Sony, like the
Yeah.
three bigs.
Universal. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but they were sued by other companies in the past. Like last year, I believe it was a German company.
Just not the um, major labels.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. So we're up to, and I skipped a few things in the timeline. So the first major lawsuit was actually June 2024.
Okay. I think that's the
Remember,
one I think I heard about.
Timberland came on board as a strategic advisor in October 2024. So he came on board after they was already being sued.
Hmm.
I think that matters, right? All right, so boom, 3.5 weeks ago, June 6th, Timberland announced, he's starting an AI label. He's signing an AI artist, Tata. how you sign an AI art. That
Yeah, I didn't get that, but keep going.
I don't get it either. A week later, on June 13th, so this is just 3 weeks ago, he uploaded a beat by a producer called K Fresh. He uploaded it from TikTok to Suno. So there was a TikTok video of this dude making a beat. Timberland somehow got the audio of that, uploaded it to Suno, and he made an AI remix using his quote unquote baby Timbo model. So just like people called, they may name their chat GPT John or
hmm
Jane or whatever. So far, did that sound right, Sci-Fi? So far, like I tried to make sure, like I did my due diligence and fact checking and stuff. Anything sound off yet?
Sounds right to me. I mean, I don't know all the inner workings behind everything, but from what I've heard, it sounds right.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank God for social media. Cause can you imagine 20 years ago, this never would have, it wouldn't even be on our radar, right?
hmm
So on June 13th, so he uploads the beat to Suno. He makes this remix. Producer, content creator Curtis King posts about it on Twitter. So this is when the firestorm starts. Because one person posts about it, then another person. So anyway, so a few days later, it goes viral on social media. So much so to the point, this rapper Ryan Wow, she's dropped a Timberland diss record, like
I think
that's going viral, like big time.
let me just make sure that people understand, because I feel like, and maybe you mentioned it, but the beat that Timberland uploaded from this other producer, when Timberland went to make a beat, was using pretty much, not pretty much, it was that exact beat from that
It was that
producer.
exact beat.
Yeah.
He added some additional elements to it. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But he added some additional elements. He remixed it, but it still had the producer's tag in it.
Which is crazy. That's wild. That's a
So
What?
yeah.
yeah. And so it goes viral.
Same baseline, same pattern.
Yeah. And
I
so
can't tell if he
initially,
added his own drums to it, but it basically jacked the producer's beat. So
pretty much. And so when the firestorm started initially, and this is the part where I haven't fully fact checked it, because once so many people start commenting on social media, you kind of lose track of kind of full context. But basically, what people are accusing him of, one of the things is saying, hey, like he was too nonchalant about it. He was gaslighting. He was basically, ha ha ha, yeah, I did it in your face, that type of attitude, right? So he initially defended himself, saying it was a remix, it was a demo. He said Ghostface Killer wanted to beat.
which
5 days later.
doesn't even sound like a Ghostface Killer beat, but
I
whatever.
mean,
Whatever.
So 5 days later, June 20th, K Fresh and his attorney Ryan Schmidt, shout out to Belmont. He's a graduate at Belmont's law college. They published an open letter, basically giving them 24 hours to meet their demands.
It's not a
If
lot of
this was
time, but
video, we
okay.
could show the letter. It was like 5 or 6 things they asked for, right? One of them being a public apology and removing the video, which Timberland did do. And then June 30th, as recent as yesterday, the Source magazine report Timberland's legal representatives noted that while the use of K-Fresh music without permission basically was against Suno's terms of service, it did not necessarily violate existing law. So the main reason why all this is still even a talking point 3 weeks later is because of his attitude and his response to it. Like, he was trying to basically get away with it or downplay it until the heat got so
Mhm.
high. It's like, bro, you can't ignore this. So that's
And
the overview of the issue.
And just a few things to add to that, back up a little bit. I did see a clip where Guru asked Timberland on a live that people were asking him, are you using music that is submitted to you
To train the model.
to train the model?
And he said no.
He said that he didn't. It his answer was he was contradicting
It was
himself
cryptic.
in the answer. And then I also want to point out too that during the lawsuit, Suno said that they basically admitted to using commercially released music, and they said anything. I forgot the exact verbiage, but they basically said anything that's out and available to us online is what they use to train it.
Yeah, I mean, they said that in I mean, it was a story that came out August of last year where Suno admitted to training their AI with unlicensed music. And so Suno defense, they're saying, hey, this is fair use. If anybody's ever studied copyright law, you can have that conversation and debate, right? But basically the labels are saying this doesn't qualify for fair use. And kind of what you were saying about Timberland's response to Guru asking him that. And Timberland basically was saying, I can't control what the company is doing. Like he was deferring, which is why I listed that quote. He will assume an active role in the day-to-day product development and strategic creative direction.
And I still
So the
feel like
fact,
that to me means he's just gonna be a face in front of it. I mean, I still don't know, even though they're saying he's involved with the product development. I mean, it's still to me that could just be them bouncing a couple questions off of him. We're still you're going to be the face of this, but we're still doing it how we do it.
Kind of like a figurehead, just to
Yeah.
keep people interested and get people on board.
yeah.
Just like the celebrity engineer using a plugin that's being advertised. You know?
Right.
Not really the same thing, but I just kind of see it as a face. I mean,
people were kind of on his case too a little bit before that whole thing with K Fresh came out, because I was seeing like a lot of discourse about him starting his AI label. I forget the name of it, but but people were just like, why would you want to sign an AI artist and not invest into like actual artists?
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole thing with K Fresh came out, and everybody was just like, this is exactly what we were talking about. You know, I saw Guru say that, just saying like, hey, look, this is kind of what we've been telling you for the past couple of weeks. Like you need to invest in actual artists and not AI, because there was more to it than that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I mean, my fault, go ahead.
I was going to ask, do y'all think that do you think, now I don't know the exact definition of fair use, and I don't feel we need to go there, but just in your opinion, because when I first saw at least the first
I
part
got
of
that
it,
in the
I should
notes
say.
too.
The
If you want
first,
to talk about it, I got that in the notes too.
personally, so the first part of it, when I saw that, he might be using other people's music to train it, that personally, I really didn't care about. And I was like, okay, to me, I'm kind of like, yeah, it is stuff that is out there. To me, the wrongdoing came when it was actually using stuff. Like, it's one thing to say you're using this to train, but then to actually now you're using it to create as well. That to me is where it turned to wrongdoing there. But if you're telling me you're using my music to train something, like I don't really care about that.
Now
See, but here's
for
where,
me, go ahead.
Oh, my fault. I was just gonna say here's where it gets tricky though, because on one hand, kind of what you're saying is kind of to somewhat on the surface to what sci-fi was saying earlier, which is, hey, I can give you all my sounds. You still not gonna make what I make because we're two different people. That's not
Mhm.
arrogant. That's saying, hey, we got a different brain. We hear, interpret whatever differently. But here's where's the kicker. If you dig a little deep under the surface. So as far as fair use, this ain't law school. We ain't getting into all of it. But the courts do evaluate it on a case by case basis, right? That's what we expect our judges to do to discern, you know what I'm saying, impartially. But one of the four factors that they look at when determining if something is fair use or not, one is the effect on the market or the value, right? So, in other words, they look at whether you are taking away income from the person who owns the copyright or undermining a potential market for that work. So when you look at it like that, hell yes, yeah, it's a problem. It's not fair use based on that one factor because it's like you obviously have a bigger platform than this producer. You know what I'm saying? Now, in this case, you might can argue maybe he raised the value of it, but
Mhm.
even then, he's going to want a piece of it. So it's like I don't know. So that's one way to look at it. Is him using K Fresh's music affecting in any sort of way affecting K Fresh's market or value for his beat?
Well, see, I have a bit of a different take on like the whole training of the AI model with commercially available music. In my opinion, that's different from us having the same sounds. Like, I don't want AI models training based on my music unless I've given it the permission to train on my music. I've actually worked with people who work with AI companies who like wanted me to create MIDI packs and like and stuff like that to train their AIs so they could have I guess a base model on how you would create certain beats and stuff like that. But that was with my permission and I
Mhm.
was compensated for that. If you're just using what you see as commercially available music, I didn't give you no permission to like, take my beat that I posted on Instagram or whatever and use that to train your model. I think, and again, I'm not super versed in, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not super well versed in like the laws. But in my opinion, that just feels wrong to me. Like you need to at least employ some musicians, employ producers, say, hey, look, we guys want you to make some music and then we want to use that music to train our model. But you have to employ those people, not just take from what you feel is commercially available. Because in you kind of cross a little barrier in my opinion whenever you're training based on commercially available stuff. I get it may be a fair use thing or whatever, but morally, in my opinion, I think that's wrong.
I get that. I feel that I'm not I guess part of it too is that I'm not a producer. I don't really make beats like that. But I guess I used to. So I don't know. I feel like I just have bigger things to worry about. But no, but I do agree. I do agree with you that they should at least ask for permission. I mean, if I record some demo stuff in the studio with someone, I don't just use their stuff on YouTube. I asked them first, hey, is it cool if I use this verse, or whatever the demo, some plugins on it or whatever.
Uh,
So no, I definitely agree with that. But if I found out that something I sent in got like I personally wouldn't make a big deal about it.
uh,
I don't know
I
if me
think
20 years ago would. I don't know.
Yeah.
nah. I mean, I think for the aspiring producer, especially if you're already tapped into Timberland, because one of the things he's been doing, he's been hosting these beat critiques. He's been having people emailing him beats for like a minute now. So that's the other factor. Now all these producers are like, "Oh man, is he feeding my beat to Suno?" And he's doubled down multiple times saying no, he's not uploading people's beats, whatever. But we see he did it at least one time with K Fresh beat, right?
Right.
So and let me be clear, like Timberland is one of my personal favorite producers. Like I would put him in my personal top 5. I would
Oh,
say
definitely. No doubt.
before AI, because I don't believe in cancel culture. Like, so Timberland doesn't need this, right? Like,
Mhm.
he's changed the sound of radio multiple times before AI was even a thing, right? So we're not talking about some hack or some amateur who who pulled one over everybody. We're talking about basically somebody who already has a position of power exploiting, whether intentionally or unintentionally or ignorantly or knowingly, exploiting someone less than. It's the
Mhm.
equivalent of like a rich person No, I think about, man, not obviously this ain't this ain't church or Bible study, but I think about like a parable in the Bible, right? Where it was like the parable, I think, of the wicked servant, where basically this dude owed his boss a whole bunch of money. He could not afford to pay it back. And the dude was his boss was about to throw him in prison. He was like, no, no, please have mercy on me. Have mercy on me. He said, all right, cool. You're forgiven. That same employee leaves, finds somebody who works for him, jacks him up, same scenario. The person begged, please, please, I can't afford it. Don't throw me in jail. He was like, man, whatever. Throw him in jail till you pay me back what you owe me. What's crazy about it is his boss forgave him, let's just say, the equivalent of $1 million. So this dude just got a bailout for $1 million and basically just choked this other dude up for like $50. Like that's how extreme the difference was. I bring that analogy up because I feel like, I don't know the intent of his heart, but I feel like you could look at this as a similar scenario, right? Like Timberland, I'm sure he had to work his way up. I'm sure he had bad label deals in the beginning, right? Now he's in a position of power and influence, and it looked like you were exploiting somebody maybe in a way that you were exploited when you know what I'm saying, we're getting in. I'm like, that's effed up.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
if it is what it looks like.
Mhm.
Timberland's not here to defend himself, but on the surface, it looks real jacked up.
Can we agree on one thing?
It depends what that one thing is.
He definitely uploaded more than just that one time.
I would say it's likely,
There's no way that's the one and
but
only
I have
time.
no way of verifying that.
No way that's the one and only time.
I think it's very likely that he did too. You know, obviously we don't know, but I feel like this about it, man.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I feel like this
Allegedly.
about it. Like I think because I don't with his whole thing about the AI artist and you know his trajectory in the AI, I don't really disagree with it. You know, I'm actually kind of here for it. I think the whole discourse around his thing is just how he's handled it, and he's been a little unapologetic about it. Not saying he should be apologetic about it, but it I think it's just his the way he's handled it hasn't necessarily brought people into it. He's kind of been more like pushing people away with how he's handled it. You know, the K Fresh thing, like, you know, he messed up. And I think he knows he messed up. Especially like posting it and stuff like that. I mean, I guess he really shouldn't have been uploading it in the first place. But, you know, posting it and, you know, showing people like, hey, you know, I threw this other guy's beat into a generative AI music creation thing without his permission. You know, I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. I just think if you're gonna do it, you have to handle it really carefully because people are sensitive, especially artists. Um, you know, you don't want to make them feel excluded. And if you really look at Timberland's history, he's been a champion for artists.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's trying to like phase out artists or nothing like that. He has like this competition going on right now where I can't remember everything that's going on with it, but I think it's something that where artists can win money and they have like a lot of opportunities and stuff. So he's still championing artists. This is just something additional. And with his Tata, is that the artist?
Yeah.
Like I look at it as just like him having a character, almost kind of like Daft Punk. With Daft Punk, you don't really care about their personalities because all you see is the helmets. You see them as the robots. And he's essentially kind of making a digital version of a character, or just a virtual version of his own character that he can use to create music with. Because I would honestly love to have an artist that I literally can tell them everything. They do everything that I say. They do it when I say it. Make all the type of music that I want them to make.
I don't even want you to finish that, man, because I don't want them to come for you, man.
Well, I mean, if they come for me, they come for me. It's fine. But I'm just saying it's additional. It's not trying to like I don't want to stop working with artists because I love artists. Artists can do things that I would never think of in my brain. But also there are times when I want to make something, I don't necessarily have the voice that can capture it. But now that we have the technology where I can either input a prompt or do something to where I can have a virtual artist that will do that and like ain't no pushback. I don't have to convince them. They just make the
Ooh.
music that I want.
See,
I think that's great.
I'm in agreement with you, and I'll also share an additional vantage point that I've read and already heard about, right? Like, so whenever you're a guest in a country or somebody's home or whatever, like there's a such thing as cultural sensitivity, right? Like even regardless of what the intent of our hearts are, is like acknowledging the fact that hey, there's another person involved here who's hearing what I'm saying, who may receive, process, whatever different. So here's the angle that some people have taken. It doesn't mean that this is true, but it is a way to look at it, right? So this idea of wanting to work with an AI artist, right? So first, people have pointed out that it's on no accident. This AI artist is Asian. Second thing they've pointed out, it's a woman, right? Now for once I'm regurgitating what I've heard people say. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm saying it's continue. It could. I'm like trying to be real careful how some people can see this as just another symptom or evidence of like this patriarchal society we live in, right? Like Sci-Fi said it, like an artist that's going to do what I want them to do when I want them to do it. Like in other words, no back talk, right? So I'm not saying I agree with that, but that is another angle that people have presented. Like, yo, this is problematic because basically, like you saying you want to work with AI artists, or they're interpreting it as he don't want to deal with a black woman. He don't want to deal with somebody that can actually speak back. You know what I'm saying? Now, it doesn't mean that's what it is. I see your perspective as well, which makes sense. Like, for what you're saying is the same reason why we got keyboards and computers and microphones and stuff in our homes. Like, because if I have an idea, I don't want to have to run to the studio.
Yep.
I don't want to have to deal with somebody telling me no because they're already booked, right? So it's that, but just understand that some people may also see it from a different perspective.
And I totally understand how people can see it from a different perspective. Again, it's new, so people don't really understand it yet. At least, again, these are all my opinions, and I could be totally wrong. But people don't really understand it yet, and people fear what they don't understand. So they're like, "Oh well, he's trying to do this because he doesn't want to deal with the artists." Like, bro's been dealing with artists for 30 years, dog.
Right.
And then,
You know,
and then people hate what they fear. So it's
Yeah.
just cycle. It's like, I don't understand it, so I'm staying away from it. Cause fear makes it feel like we're not in control.
Yeah, exactly.
I
That's
don't know
exactly the point.
anybody that likes to feel like they not in control.
That's exactly the point. And we want to feel like we're in control of our art. And again, I think it's two sides of the same coin. Timberland wants to be in control of his art to the fullest, where he doesn't have to rely on the artist. Artists want to be so in control of their art so much that they don't want AI to come in, sweep, pull the rug from under them, and now they don't have a career. But I think everybody should at least try to look at it from a more macro perspective rather than just my lens and bubble of what I do. Timberland, I think, and not saying he isn't, but he should look at it from the creative's perspective of, being sensitive to how they feel about AI and how it could potentially, derail what they're doing in their livelihood. And the artists have to look at it from the perspective of Timberland of saying like, hey, look, this can revolutionize creativity. This can help us do bigger things and expand on the music landscape in ways that we've never thought were possible.
But here's why it's not gonna happen. Like here's why I think that won't happen. Like I don't think Timberland can afford to quote unquote see the artist's perspective because like we established before, he's changed the sound of radio multiple times. Like Timberland wants to be on the cutting edge, wants to be a pioneer, a trailblazer. So I think a lot of what's coming up now is unfortunately I think it's a casualty of what do they call it in America? Not commerce.
Capitalism.
Capitalism is a unfortunate result of capitalism, right? It's like who's going to be first, right? Like who's going to plant their flag down, right? So I think a lot of this could think about how quickly this is escalating. Timberland has only been on board with them since August.
Yeah.
It's almost a year, and here we are. I mean, multiple lawsuits, this and that. So I think a lot of it is he's trying to get people on board. So he's not saying F y'all, I got this secret. No, he's telling other producers, this is the new wave, this is the new wave, get on it, get on it, get on it. You know what I'm saying? But on the flip side, I don't think artists or producers are gonna can afford to take the time to see his perspective because that's like asking a sexual assault victim. That's like asking one of Diddy's alleged victims. No, not alleged. Let's go with the one. Let's go with the one that we know for sure. Cass.
What?
No, no. I mean, no. Legally, you ain't about to get me sued. Legally speaking, right? All this other stuff is alleged, except Cassie. That's been confirmed. So that's like asking Cassie, "Hey, I know that was wrong what he did, but you understand why he did it, right?" Like that's the equivalent. Like, yo, if you're exploiting my art, don't ask me to see it from your perspective.
Well, now, not from the perspective of him uploading someone else's work into the model.
Oh, you just mean like the art?
I
the
can't
technology.
apologize for Timberland on that part because that was totally wrong. Like, if you don't have permission, again, like I said before, if you don't have permission to use my work for an AI model, for placing it in a TV show, whatever, I need to approve that. You need my permission. And there has to be some type of transaction, some type of conversation going before you use my stuff, my intellectual property.
Keyword you said, permission. Like this whole thing, this whole episode, the whole controversy is about permission. Because for our listeners, I hope y'all understand. Me and Sci-Fi are in agreement as far as using the technology. I said at the very beginning, I'm a fan of AI when it's used responsibly and effectively, right?
Yeah.
The issue is the permission thing, right? So even the whole the labels are treating it, and I said that I texted Cadence Pat the other day, and I texted him when I'm about to tell y'all, and he was like, "Man, Rick, that's why you're a dope teacher, man, because you look at it different." And I told him, I'm like, the labels suing right now, right? And really they're starting to back off of that a little bit, and I'm gonna tell you why. But the labels initially suing is similar to the federal government criminalizing marijuana, right?
Mhm.
You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to say I understand why it was criminalized then and is decriminalized now. And there's only one word: money. The government wasn't eating off of that at all. How many drug dealers y'all know pay taxes? Zero. Right. So the government, like, hey, we ain't getting the piece. We ain't getting the piece. But now that marijuana is legalized in several states, the government's getting broke off. So it's like, oh, I'm cool. It ain't legal in Tennessee yet. So it's like, hey, if you get caught, you still gonna have some issues. You know what I'm saying? Because the government ain't getting broke off. So the same way with the labels. Initially, they were suing because it was unlicensed. So if it was unlicensed, that means the labels ain't eating off of it. Now is like it's in my notes and stuff. It's public information. Now they're having discussions around licensing that. So it's not like we mad we don't want you to use our music. It's like we want you to pay us when you use our music, right? So as soon as they agree to some license fee, it's gonna go away from a legal standpoint, in my opinion. That's what I predict. As soon as Warner and Sony and whoever and Suno, they get in the room and they come up with a fee that everybody agrees to, this thing gonna be put to bed.
You're probably
I would
right.
say in less than a year, 6
You're probably
months.
right.
Now, I was going to ask, where do you think we go from here? I agree with that. Let me play a little bit. I don't know if it's devil's advocate, but is there a difference with Suno taking someone's beat that they didn't have permission and, let's say, chopping it up, remixing it, doing whatever they do, sampling it, and these producers now taking these songs that have been copyrighted and everything and still sampling it?
Mm,
Say the question again.
mm.
So is there a difference between Suno taking music that they didn't have permission for and not just straight spitting it back out like in Timberland's video, but basically sampling it, chopping it up, doing whatever, and
Yeah.
these producers nowadays doing the same thing with commercial songs, sampling it, chopping it up?
So you
Well,
saying? Oh, go
I
ahead.
think that's a little different because I mean, producers will find a sample of commercial music. They'll chop it up or whatever. And if it's a song that has been copywritten and is well established, usually either they come to a deal and they agree like you can use this composition or whatever, and the originators of that composition are compensated, and then
That's doing it the
you
right
can
way.
that's doing it the right way, right?
But most people, I guess my point is, on both sides, neither one have permission to do this.
No, well, I think with, and I'm just kind of giving my raw thoughts here. With a
Mhm.
lot of producers, if you don't have access to reach the people who are the original creators, like at that point, I guess you just don't use the sample. But I do think you should be able to have the creative freedom to do it. And if you're gonna release it, try to reach out as best as you can. If it
Mhm.
gets to a point to where it's gaining some traction, it's
They'll
getting a
find
lot
you.
of attention, they will find you for sure. And then, maybe you have the conversation. But there has to be some type of communication and permission at some point in the
Yeah,
process.
yeah.
It may not necessarily be on the front end if you can't communicate, if you don't have access to communicate. But
Mhm.
at some point during that process, there has to be some type of permission given. In my opinion, it has to
Mhm.
be some type of permission and some discussion about it, because otherwise, you're infringing.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, you see,
Yeah.
O'Shea, look, he sees my point.
I mean, well, I mean, I knew when you first said it, I knew exactly where you were going. I do think there is a difference. It's something called like extraction economy, right? It's this idea that unlike sampling, so when you sample a record, right? Whether let's just talk about doing it the right way or wrong way, it doesn't matter. I'm just talking about the actual creative act of sampling something, right? Like you still didn't create that original thing, right? Like you heard the original, you interpreted it and made something new. Whether you chopped it or even if you just looped it and added drums, whatever. What AI is doing, what Suno has the power to do is creating a permanent data incorporation. So it's not I'm 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 trying. It's almost like sampling would be like making a Xerox copy, and that's it. AI would be like making a Xerox copy, but keeping that cachet, keeping that history, keeping that thing permanently stored that can then be applied to other things. I think that's what the difference is. For example, and you can do some like even in Logic Pro and other DAWs, you can do groove extraction. So if like Questlove, he's my favorite DJ. But if I uploaded one of his root songs because I wanted his drummer groove, I could extract that groove, but you can't copyright a groove, a sense of
hmm
time, and I could apply that to other songs. What AI is doing is not just taking a groove, is taking the entire sonic fingerprint.
Melodic content, harmonic content.
Right. So it's essentially the equivalent of Space Jam when the original Space Jam with MJ, not with Brian, even though that one was good too, in my opinion. But it's like the aliens coming down and sucking the power out of the NBA superstar, Patrick Ewing and Charles Barkley and Sean Bradley. That's what I think AI has the potential to do. It's not just I'm sampling this and repurposing it. It's like, no, I'm sucking the soul out of this sample. So now it's like I made this song. So now I have all the memories, all the skill, all the whatever it took to make that. And so now I'm James Brown. Before I just sampled Funky Drummer. Now I am the Funky Drummer, and now I can play new stuff as the Funky Drummer.
And see that's why I'm saying I think, in my opinion, it would be best for them to hire creatives to work to train this model, just like Splice. Y'all familiar with Splice?
Yeah, off.
Yeah, like they have producers that make packs specifically for Splice, and they're paid. I think a lot of them are paid royalties. Some of them may be paid like an
Like
upfront
producer
price.
fees up front.
Yeah, but they're compensated for their work, and it's specific to Splice. I guess they have their deals, and some take their packs off Splice and sell them on their own sites and stuff like that too. But that's why I'm saying, like, I think they should employ the creatives and not just take from random things that they find, because then you have a little bit more leverage, and you can say like, hey, look, we partner with these creatives to make this type of model. You could take a Oak Felder and have him train a model to make stuff that sounds like Oak Felder. So if you want to make a Demi Lovato type beat, you go to Oak's model and say, hey, I want this type of groove or whatever. That's where I think it would be ethically the best to kind of play in that realm.
And that's what I think the argument that's what I think the major labels are trying to get. They're trying to get like, because here's the thing, it's here. It's not going anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't know how many lawsuits they got, but here's the thing I thought about earlier, and I said this on Facebook. Here's what's crazy. If you've been arrested and charged with a crime, what happens to you? While you're waiting to prove yourself, what happens?
They put you in a holding cell.
Yeah, you still.
You're in jail. An individual is in jail. Suno is facing court cases and being sued, and you can still sign up for a Suno subscription right now and start making beats. That's crazy to me. Think about it. Think about it. Suno, they haven't been quote unquote convicted. They haven't settled, but they've been charged or accused of breaking the law.
They probably got their lawyers holding them down with that.
I mean, of course, but I'm just saying how things work on a corporate level in this. I'm not even going to say capitalistic country, in this capitalistic world that we live in, right? And so I think every individual creator is going to have to be clear on what their North Star is. I think this is going to continue growing. I think there are going to be many people that on principle choose not to use it at all, and they're going to get left behind. I think there are people who are going to say rules be damned, I don't care, like I'm trying to get mine, right? And then you have this group in the middle, kind of like I think Sci-Fi, you and I are saying, where it's like, hey, we're all for the creative, ethical, responsible use for it. And at the same time, because we're creative, there's certain things we're probably not going to do with it, not because it's wrong, but as a creative, that's not fun. Like, it's not fun typing in prompts, although it may be interesting for an experiment. But you're a keyboard player, bro. Like, imagine like not playing keys for 2 hours and just typing in prompts. It's like, bro, like that ain't gonna be fun. They ain't gonna like, you know what I'm
But
saying?
see, that's the thing. For some
Oh, it
kid
might
though,
be. Yeah,
like who has no musical ability, typing prompts might be fun for them because they can
true.
go through a bunch of different prompts, find sounds, and then manipulate those sounds. And they type in like they could type in wet fart and then make that sound like a pad or something like that. That might be fun for them.
That's fair. That's fair.
Anybody who
Yeah,
has
but-
Waves Illusion, please type in wet fart to see what kind of sound it makes.
Bro, I got it up right now. All right, let me type it.
Yeah, but I mean, it just to me, I think we just have to look at both sides of it and really decide where you stand. Like I stand on the side of like I want more creative exploration. I'm always here for creative exploration. So if
Right.
AI makes that a little bit better or easier, great.
I got it, y'all. So I put it on loop. Yes, I really did type in wet fart. I put it on
Sheesh.
loop. Here we go.
Yeah, we got to hear that.
I think it gives like 3 different ones. I think it does a short, long, medium.
Is it playing?
Yeah, I don't hear nothing.
I don't hear it.
Thought I heard something at first.
Nah, I don't hear nothing.
I thought I heard something at first.
You sure you ain't typing in silent but deadly?
Y'all ain't hear nothing, bro.
Damn.
That was a good one, bro. I had my mic like right on the speaker cone, like nothing.
Nah.
But y'all can still hear me, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can hear you, but I can't
You are
hear
speaking into the front of the mic. Did you have the back of the mic to it?
Nah, I turned it around.
Oh, you turned it around? Okay.
I turned it. Yeah, that's weird, but yeah, the first one actually sounded like just a fart sound effect. The second one was the second one was that basically a break beat. I'm gonna play it again, see if it worked. Y'all ain't hear that at all.
Oh, it's supposed to be. Is it coming out your speakers?
Yeah, like I had the volume like cranked
Oh,
all the
you
way
know
up.
what? Hold on. You probably got some. There might be some
Like
background
like
noise
the
reduction
echo.
going on.
Oh, yeah, that might be it. I don't know how to turn it off.
I think I can turn it off. I think
it's just the echo cancellation button right there, right?
so. Hold on.
Oh, it says it can't be changed while recording.
Yeah. Oh well.
Oh well, but it wasn't bad. Like the little drum beat, like it wasn't bad at all. The first one was like as bad as you would expect, like something like that to be. It's like, yeah, I really just like gave me the sound of somebody with their mouth just doing it. But the second one was like, oh, that's actually a unique break beat because it doesn't quite sound like an actual beater of a kick drum.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can do some stuff with that. Have y'all seen the making of Power Trip with J. Cole in the studio?
I've seen clips of it.
Bro, have you seen the part so you know that sound in the background, that low sound that kind of sounds like a shaker in Power Trip?
I think
It's
so.
like
Okay. Yeah.
that was a snare sample. That was a snare sample that he pitched all the way down. Like stuff like that. Like, so I would like the experimental side of it, like that. Like typing in a prompt, like, what would it sound like if, a metal trash can, what I'm saying, was used for a trap beat? Like stuff like, so to your point, Sapphire, coming up with prompts is kind of fun because I use AI a lot. I don't use Chat GPT. I use another one called Claude AI.
I like Claude.
Yeah, man, Claude's been clutch. I tell my students at Belmont, like I use AI like when I'm preparing these lessons.
Is Claude a black man?
I mean he's black to me.
You make him sound like
Right.
If you tell
But
him a black man, he a black man.
yeah. Oh, here's the other thing I do. So, and here's where it can be super helpful, but some people might say, eh. So what I did, so already in this episode, I've admitted Questlove, hands down, is my favorite DJ that I've ever seen in person. Ninth Wonder is number 2. But it's a little bit of space in between number 1 and number 2. So I mean, Questlove has tons of music, interviews, books, and stuff. It's a lot of public knowledge out. You know what I'm saying, from his brain and his pen, right? What just happened? Oh, so basically, what I did, so I uploaded. I found a lot of his articles and books and whatever. I uploaded the PDFs to Claude, and then whenever I had questions, like even DJing, I might be like, all right, I know what the first song is going to be, but I would type in, how would Questlove transition from this to that, right? Or sometime when I'm preparing my Belmont lesson plans, once again, you got to have a foundational knowledge. You got to be able to edit, remix, sample, all that good stuff. But I'll put out, I'll say, hey, so this year I want to do a timeline of hip hop. I want to cover these specific genre or sounds, regions, et cetera, et cetera. And then I'll just type in, how would Questlove do this? And it'll spit stuff back. And I'm like, yo, a lot of times I have to be like, that's a little too hip hop. I'm like, I don't talk like that, right? But it'll give me nuggets where it's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? So I think the danger could come in. What if someone said, hey, write me a book in the voice of Questlove? Like, that's when it gets, but the truly creative, those are not the ones who I think would do something like that, right?
Yeah.
It's I'm bored. Ooh, let me see if this works.
Now, when you get into the voice stuff, again, if they've, I think still they should have given their permission. But there are sites like, you ever heard of Automy? It's like basically it's an AI website where you can upload a bass vocal, like a vocal take, and it'll process that vocal to sound like another person, like maybe a Cardi B or a Nicki Minaj. And like, if you're writing for pitch, a lot of times what songwriters will do, they'll, do their top line, they'll upload to a site like Automy or whatever.
You mean
And if
just
they're,
the lyrics, or they'll do like an actual demo
yeah,
recording?
like an actual demo. And
Okay.
they'll upload their vocal to like a site like Automy, and they'll like, if they're trying to pitch to Cardi B, they'll use the Cardi B model of the voice. So it sounds like more like Cardi B. And they'll
Oh,
also will try to like rap and sing in her style too, but it'll sound more like Cardi B. So whenever they get that pitch, it's, I guess, more convincing to them, and they kind of can visualize it more in their world. I've heard of a lot of
that sound
songwriters
hella
doing that.
that sound hella scary. Like, what if you're like what if you're Lil Baby and you get a demo that sounds like you're like,
That's
nigga, hold
wild.
I'm
on.
sure they probably. I'm sure almost every big artist has received some type of demo that had a
Yo,
vocal. Maybe not everyone, but I'm sure a lot
that's
of big artists have received
crazy.
demos that sounded like them. Even big artists will sometimes use it. I've heard of some artists using it, like if they couldn't make it to the studio or whatever. If there's like a performance track that they have to use. I'm just using random examples, but the artist will request to use a AI model of their vocal so they don't have to perform it themselves.
Wow. Bro, we gotta talk about Automy on the next episode.
That's
I
wild.
already Googled, I got videos pulled up. I
That
gotta hear this.
that almost makes me think of this is the TikTok or Instagram I saw of this dude. He would be standing with rappers, and he would tell them that they rap,
Mhm.
and they're like, okay, let me hear something, and he would rap one of that rapper's verses back to them.
That's funny.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting crazy out here, man. But again, I love it because I love the creative exploration, aspect of it. I'm not by nature like a predatory person, so I'm not going to infringe. But there are people that will infringe, and that's why we need regulations around it.
Yeah.
Just takes
and
one.
which we currently don't really have many regulations around it because nobody really understands it.
Yeah.
So we just got to get a good understanding around it. They have passed some laws for because I'm a part of the Recording Academy, and they were instrumental in passing laws to protect artists against AI and using like their likeness and their voice and stuff.
Man.
So
I mean, it's the same thing they did with Nap. I mean, everything is about if you eating, we want to eat too. Cause think about it. So Napster and LimeWire and all that, just from a music perspective, like I know you could download movies and books and all that, but just from a music perspective, it was a big deal. I mean, FBI was doing raids on people, like not like regular people, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, but now streaming is legal and independent artists still ain't making nothing but peanuts. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how much of a difference did it really make? It made a huge difference for major artists, right? But it's like, that's why I don't even like when they use general talk and make stuff sound good. I'm like, this is only going to work for like the upper echelon. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to work for the average, the average creator, man. I just want people to be honest, man. It's like when commercials they advertise they marketing a new drug. At least on those commercials they say results are not typical. You know what I'm saying? But some of these jokers out here, you trying to make you think you gonna be the rule, be the exception to the rule, and it's like, nah, buddy.
Yeah.
Go ahead and wrap this episode up. Definitely want y'all feedback on this topic. This episode, of course, will be posted in the Facebook group. Definitely comment. Let me know what y'all think about this topic. Would love to continue the discussion there. All right.
Sure.
Get up out of here. Sci-Fi, appreciate you for joining us again. Good
Always,
conversation. And
Sure.
we'll definitely see what happens with this. All right, I'm Czar.
I'm Sci-Fi.
And I'm O'Shea.
And we'll catch y'all next episode.
Peace.
Yo.